Hi, Race. This is your guidance video for week 12 of chemistry. And basically, there's two parts to this week's work. The first part of this week's work is to finish off some loose ends on our studies of temperature and rates of reaction. Now, obviously, we had the Eid week, and that kind of broke everything up. So what I've done is I've tried to simplify it as much as possible. I have set you some Seneca tasks. So you need to find yourself on Seneca. I've got the link in the documents and I'll put it into the classroom. Make sure that you're fully signed up, and please make sure that you are doing the Seneca assignments that I set you, and make sure that you are doing them within the assignments themselves. So you should be able to find the first one, which is labeled Week 12, Year 8, Chemistry, Rates of Reaction. If it doesn't say Week 12, you need to look again on your Seneca. So find Week 12, Year 8, Chemistry, Rate of Reactions, and there's two topics there. And basically what you need to do is you need to go through each one, right? So there are a couple of points that are new points to you. I'm just going to quickly explain those ones. So what you have done already is you have done rates of reaction, and you've studied rates of reaction when you actually have reactions going on, and you're measuring the different things that are coming off, like the gas, for example. Now, there are a couple of things that you need to, and you will be covering, and will be taught through the Seneca. Number one is temperature. So if particles gain enough kinetic, if they gain enough stored energy, movement energy, then they begin to move more quickly. So they store that energy and kinetic energy. They move more quickly. The collisions occur when the pathways of the particles hit each other, and particles with greater speeds are more likely to collide. And if they collide, they're more likely to collide successfully. So that can increase rates of reaction. The second thing that you can actually have to change the rate of a chemical reaction, that means that you can produce more products in the time frame, is catalysts, because catalysts actually work quite nicely. Catalyst is detailed on page 93. And catalysts, what they do is they make it easier for particles to overcome the energy barrier. So what they do is they actually lower the amount of energy required for a reaction to occur. And the great thing about catalysts is that they are not used up. The third thing that you need to understand is about concentration. So if you have more concentrated solution, you have more particles within a space that can actually react, and if you have more particles, there's a greater chance of a more successful collision taking place between reactants to form products. And the fourth one is if you have a surface area. So if you have a solid lump, you actually have particles on the inside of the lump that cannot actually react. It's only when you break them up into a smaller form, so you can actually have, instead of a lump, you can have like several smaller lumps. You actually expose the surfaces on the inside, and that means that in effect you have more particles that could take place in a reaction. So the chances of collisions and chances of successful collisions is increased. Therefore, your rate of reaction, the amount of reactions that take place over a specific space of time, is increased as well. Now, all of that is covered very, very nicely in 7.1.1 and 7.1.2. All of the factors which are affecting rates of reaction, and also the types of different reactions as well. I put that in there for you to cover. I'd like to give you a chance to cover that very, very quickly this week, because I'd like you to also make a start on your revision, as this is your second test that's going to be taking place this year in chemistry. So we've got this week where you have a little bit of revision with chapter 9, and then next week we have another chance to cover chapter 9 and chapter 10. I'll be producing some YouTube videos, and I'll do a little quick quiz just to make sure that you can assess your knowledge, your understanding and your knowledge, and I'll put that on to the classroom next week. Okay, so for this week, what I'd just like you to do is just like to start you thinking about your revision, to get your revision started a little bit early. And the reason why is because chapter 9 is actually quite an extensive chapter as well. So with chapter 9, we've got 8.1.1, 8.1.2, 8.1.3, 8.2.1, and 8.2.2. All of those, acids and bases, reactions of acids and bases, identifying acids, oxides and salts, and making salts. All of those covered in chapter 9. I'd like you to really have a go at those. The learning is there to just go through the exercises, and that will also enable you to start remembering all of that stuff with Chapter 9. The good news is that it's stuff that we have actually covered in the spring term. But you do need to take your time over it, because what I have done is I've responded to some feedback I received from some year 8s already. They wanted a little more help and support with, especially with the dissociation of acids, forming H plus ions and OH minus ions. There was a bit of confusion about that, and so what I've done is I've made sure that there's some information. So take your time going through those, but please make sure that those revision quizzes are done by 3 o'clock on Thursday, and make sure the rates of reaction stuff is done by Thursday, 3 o'clock as well. What I'll try and do is I'll try and transfer them over to a spreadsheet and give some people some catch-up time. If you really are struggling to hit those deadlines, please let me know. The revision is essential, and I don't want you to leave all of your revision until the following week, which is week 13, because going into week 14, there's going to be too much information for you to take on, and I really want you to do well in your second test for this term. So you're just prepping up. If you have any problems, any issues getting into Seneca, please let me know. But you do know it already. Many of you are very capable of doing that, and it's been really pleasing to see your own progress with that. So best of luck with that, and stay at home, stay safe, and if you've got any problems, let me know. Take care. Bye for now.